Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to OneHubRacing Season 18. This is round 3 of the Pinnacle tier, and tonight we head to the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. We had 2 incredible races in this tier so far, and I'm sure tonight is going to be another one to remember. Daniel, also known as Daka, unfortunately due to personal reasons cannot commit to commentary for us for the rest of the season. But thanks for all he did for covering all the races, and he's been a fantastic commentator. Until a replacement is found, however, you got me, Jess, in the commentary box. But what has not changed is a co-commentator for this tier, Matt, also known as Indecisive Mackie. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit flat after Prospect earlier, but I'm good. I'm excited to be here, and I have no idea who's going to win this. It could be anyone, and I'm looking forward to finding out.
Chinese Grand Prix Formula 1 race was first held back in 2004, and the circuit holds the record for the highest number of overtakes during the Grand Prix. We've seen quite a few overtakes in a lot of the tiers earlier on as well. Last time we were here was back in Season 15. We saw 2 familiar names in the top 2 steps. Louis Welsh, of course, who was a triple OneHubRacing champion for the top tier, and obviously Damian Moreno, who is a F1 Esports Pro Series at the moment, P1 and P2 respectively, and Toxic's Marta in P3. The track is 5.4 kilometers long, 16 turns, 7 to the left, 9 to the right, 2 DRS zones, 1 being at the start-finish straight and 1 being at turn 13 and 14. 3 compounder tyres used for today's race. We've got the C4s, the C3s and the C2s, but tyre degradation is a bit tricky on this track. One of the trickiest on the calendar. Soft's optimum pace is only around about 5-6 laps around this track. So I assume that the drivers who are using the softs today, Matt, will probably want to get out of them very, very quickly.
Yeah, because a lot of them will probably be using them for quality, providing each drive. We don't know that yet, of course, which is one of the amazing things to find out live with all of the viewers. But yeah, they really fall off quickly at the start of a race, so if you happen to be on them, then you could end up having a world of pain all of a sudden, but I'm sure these guys are more than capable of coping with that.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm sure it's going to be harder, I would say, than China to actually get your tyres for a bit longer, but it's going to be a lot easier in terms of service temperature and I think tyre temperature as well compared to most weeks. So, you know, I think China's going to provide a lot of action. We've seen a lot of changeable conditions in some OneHub races gone by back in last time we were here back in Season 15. And that was one of the questions being put at the pre-race interviews as well. Are they expecting weather changes in this Grand Prix? Quite a few people, actually a lot of people were predicting mixed conditions, Samba being one of them. Cliffy, however, is predicting a full dry race. So I don't know what Cliffy is thinking now as well. Fatality thinking the same as well. And there's one person that's hoping for rain at this race, and it's the driver that did very well last week, Netsky. He said in the question, he said, I hope for some rain at the race, but you can't really guess what it could be on this track. So I'm guessing the drivers have got to be on their A game, and because it could bring some unpredictability, the mixed conditions, if there is any.
Yeah, that's always a really good equaliser around any track, but this one in particular changes the characteristics of the track quite somewhat, and you have to take corners very differently if it does rain. But talking of Cliffy and Fatality, they did also. Cliffy likes this place, so I think that's why he wants it dry. He's got decent pace and he's not too worried about it. But Fatality is unsatisfied with last week. He had unfortunate incidents, but this is one of his worst tracks, so he's going to try and get some points today.
Well, at least it's out of the way for him tonight if he gets a rubbish result. And if he has a good result, it will be better than nothing. So before we head to the qualifying for today, which is just about to get underway very, very shortly, we'll take you through the results of this tier. So we got Netsky, who won the race last week as well. He's looking to carry on his momentum from last week. Samba finished in second on 17 points. And Lakita in the Ferrari in third. Then Vienna had a good result last time out in the Alfa Romeo in fourth. So we got Larkin, who was in fifth. Josh was in sixth. Then we got Noah, who did very well on his debut in seventh. Tomar in eighth. Rafa ninth. And Khalifa getting 3 points in the top 10 for starting very low down. So he still gains the positions. Doing very well if you have Khalifa in your fantasy team. Konzo in 11th. And Glock got your final point. He also got the fastest lap point outside the top 10, and Rafa got it inside the top 10. And your driver of the day last week was ERT Josh, and I have to say, very well deserving for him. I wonder who's going to get driver of the day next week, but we'll find out. And looking at the standings very quickly, I should get it up on my screen on how does that reflect the standings. So Lakitu is leading the championship by 1 point over Samba, and we got Netsky in third, Larkin in fourth, Khalifa fifth, Vienna in sixth, Josh in seventh, then we got Jules, Rafa, Glot round up your top 10 on 12th, 11th and 10th respectively. Noah in 11th on 6th. We got Tomar in 12th on 6 on 5. Carl in 13th on 4. Konzo 14th on 3. Arnold, who can't make it tonight, I believe, due to a broken pedal, is 15th. Cliffy is 16th on 1 with Jalen, Fatality, Toxic and Chris yet to score. Constructors very quickly before we head to qualifying. Ferrari in the lead with 45 points, which is quite a bit of a gap to, a 6-point gap to Renault. Then we have Red Bull in third on 30, fourth Alfa Romeo on 25, fifth is McLaren with 23, sixth is Mercedes on 20, Racing Point in seventh on 12, Haas is eighth on 6, and we got AlphaTauri and Williams bringing up the rear. So the championship's still wide open on round 3, in particular with the top 4, and that's what we like to see, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You always like to see a championship that's tight, and there was a time last week that with a few laps to go, it could have been Samba leading the championship, such as the race unpredictability that it was. But Neski got past one of his competitors. No, he didn't. Lakitu did. Sorry, wrong driver. He was second last year. Sorry to rub that into it, but yeah, Lakitu got past and finished one place behind Samba, so that's why he retains the championship lead.
Exactly. A few people on tyres right now. Everybody's on the softs. No one is on the medium compound tyres. So I wonder if predictions in their pre-race interviews was coming true as to possibly rain in the race. If you were watching Precision a moment ago, it's a full wet race at the moment. So let's hope we do not get something similar here in Pinnacle too, of course. But we'll find out someone who's on a lap. I think a few people is just about to start one. I think let's go on board with Konzo as well. But before that, we've got quite a few interesting rivalries that happened. The rivalry that happened recently was between Fatality and Cliffy. I need to try and find the question for a second. I'm trying to find it, but I can't. There we go. I think I found it now. And Cliffy's question was, is the weak Fatality remembers to not ready up on the grid first? And they said, we all make mistakes, especially those a part of other leagues where you can just ready up. I'm sure Fatality will remember and be good. And he even said a cheeky bad word on the media there for this a poor attempt trying to stir up some sort of rivalry between us. But you know, I'm guessing Cliffy is liking Fatality there, so no bad blood between the two of them.
Well, we, the media, will see everything, and don't worry about that. Just concentrate on your own job. We'll do ours, but yeah, it's, you know, it's just, he's done it twice now, that's why I said it. Sometimes drivers just don't learn quick enough, but, you know, it's, the car's going around the track, which is always a good sign. So let's just sit back and enjoy the final, the rest of this session, and I have absolutely no idea who could be a challenger for that time on pole, which we were talking before. We were expecting a mid to low 28s for pole.
Yes, because 1:28.9 was the pole time for position tier earlier on as well, set by one of the Ferrari drivers. But we'll go on board with Vienna actually as we take you on board a hot lap around this amazing China circuit. Now, turn 1 to 3, there was quite a few people that were struggling with that, and when they were asked that question in the pre-race interviews. Small dabs on the great brakes as you head towards turn 4, around 2nd to 3rd gear around here as well. After the short straight, you'll reach the turn 6 hairpin. Turn 5 is a little bit of a kink actually as well. Your minimum speed is around 48 miles per hour around this little hairpin as well. And you're heading towards this section here as one of the cars moved out the way here. So that was great to see right now. So you're now going to approach towards turn 9 and 10. Turn 9 hits you as soon as you're out of 8. So you've got to be very, very careful there. Aim to clip the inside curb just a tiny bit. For turn 11, brake hard, about 90 metres here. Best line to take involves clipping the apex ever so slightly. fourth gear around here as you head towards turn 15. Let your car run to the very edge, but not quite, so otherwise you'll end up near a wall, and you do not want that. DRS wide open here. He was very, very quick to react to that as well. You'll be heading towards the next hairpin, which a lot of drivers struggle with. Turn 14, clip the right, I bet just a tiny bit. He moved to the left a little bit more as well to get maybe the best possible traction. Looking good so far. Turn 15 and then to the final corner of turn 16, where we've seen quite a few people invalidate their laps in other tiers. What's the lap time going to be? And it's fourth place at the moment, 1:29.4, so not too bad lap from him by no Vienna's pace, and he can go a lot quicker.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I think that some of these drivers just like to get an early banker lap in. Well, that is a quick banker lap for what it is, and we'll see how much quicker they can go later on in the session. But now I'm just seeing Rafa finish. No, he's not. He's going to abandon and go straight into the pit lane. What do I know?
That is why we're in the commentary box and not racing in this top tier, because they know the strat around here as well. The drivers have only got 3 sets of softs maximum if they go for the balanced option, and then if they go for the softer option, then they'll probably most likely get 4. But they don't know what the weather's going to be like during the race when they pick the softer option, so they just got to give it what they know. But if they do go for the softer option around here, then that's probably a little bit of an idiot, I have to say as well. I'm quite surprised a lot of people went into the pits early as well, but I'm guessing everyone was quite happy with their laps. 6 people yet to set a lap time on the board, one of which is Glock, who is coming towards the final corner now. He seems pretty okay around this track. I think he's one of those drivers that hope to have a dry race, of course, but he wasn't very happy with last week's race, but to be honest, his mindset was to get over those bad races quickly and move on in response to the first question. And he likes the whole track, especially turn 1 as well. So I'm guessing we'll watch out a bit from Glock tonight. He's 18th at the moment, but expect him to set a very competitive lap time on the board and maybe challenge the mid-pack, I would say. Not the top guys, because Nextski and Toxic are running away with it right now. We still haven't seen one Lakita who has to offer yet in the Ferrari, because I know he can go quicker too, but you know, it's definitely a bad track for him, I would say, compared to Singapore, he said. So maybe this is the race where we can see Glock on better form.
Yes, it could well be, and as you said, that he does apparently have a purple sector 1, and sometimes I don't know if that's true or not, because the game likes to lie to us and give us all excited over nothing. But he is doing a decent lap now as he comes onto the best bit of the track, where you can just take a few breaths, have a blink, so that your eyes don't dry up, and have your massive straight just to do that, and think about your braking zone. Just focus on it, and as it comes into sight, just hit your brakes into the hairpin, and we'll see what he can do as he comes around that. He nails that pretty good, actually. We've seen a couple of drivers slightly miss it, but that seemed to be pretty good. And he's going to come around the final corner and a run for the line open DRS. And what goes provisionally pole with a 28.9. There you go.
Did we say it's his favourite track? He's definitely proving it at the moment. 1:28.9. He's pretty much gone the same pole time as what we saw with Precision earlier on today as well. So imagine what these times are going to be later on as well. Let's see if anyone else could do any better. ERT Joshua was last week's driver of the day. He's going into sector 2 now. He's coping quite well as well. We got Chris, who's also had a really bad last week, is looking to make amends too. Hasn't invalidated yet though, but I'm trying to find someone which is a little bit further on a lap. Lakita's about to start one. Lakita will probably be a bit wide. He's 7th down at the moment, but we've seen him come up through the field before. He started 12th in Mexico last season, went on to win the race. So, never say never for the Ferrari driver. And to be honest, he's probably being a bit patient and just biding his time right now to see what he can do. But he wasn't picked up by the shoes to have a really bad race, because a podium actually was actually a very, very good result for him, despite him not getting the win. So consistency is key, and that's why he's near the top of the standings, like we said earlier as well, as he heads towards, I can't remember what corner. I should know my corners really around the circuit. I think it's passing turn 10. Yep, it is turn 10. And I have to say, Lakita being one of the favourites as well. But Larkin, where did Larkin come from? He's in sort of time slots in pole position, 1:28, not 8. So I've seen him do well in these types of tracks, but I wasn't expecting him to get provisional pole position right now. My oh my, these other drivers need to wake up all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do that, but Lakitu always seems to struggle a little bit in qualifying over the likes of Netsky and the Mercedes, especially last season. It was always pretty much Mercedes at the front, but Lakitu had better races to get the better results, and that is why ultimately he won the championship. But let's see what he can do now. I revalidated actually, so that's not going to be held P4 if it was a valid time, so he's definitely got the pace there, so that could limit the drive through the field that he's had to do on several occasions. His last good start, but need to keep it valid.
I believe it was the final corner he invalidated on, because there's no real other corner where you can invalidate your lap really, or he might have been earlier on and he invalidated his in lap as well, so not the best idea as well. So anyone else on the lap? Jules as well, who was been in a lot of trouble with the stewards recently in OneHubRacing, and was reported, and he did get a time penalty last week as well, which was a bit of a shame. So we were just finding out what happened actually. So yeah, Jules received a 10-second time penalty, which was added to his race time. Luckily it didn't affect his overall position in terms of the overall standings, but it is a heads up that you really need to pick up the pace and not get involved in any instance, because it may not be long before the tier gets bumped up into a higher, harsher penalty system, and it may not be long before you may get disqualified. But luckily, Pinnacle are not that there yet. Jules goes in P14 with a 1:29.7, so at least he's got a lap time on the board. Everyone in the either in the 1:29s or 1:28, apart from Noah, Cliffy, and Chris. So 5 minutes left to go. It's time to put the hammer down and people to get lower fuel loads at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that incident you're talking about with Jules, I happened to catch the back end of that, and it was just a very unfortunate incident. But yeah, you can definitely see why the stewards throwing him the penalty points there. He was a naughty engine, but luckily, as you say, it didn't affect his position, so that's always a relief. But he's going to have that mark. But I would hope that no tiers are anywhere near the limit. It's only round 3.
Yeah, position are almost in that limit already with one driver, but we don't want to go too much into it today because this is not position, this is Pinnacle. But there we go, as Jules has invalidated his lap once again, which is a bit of a shame, of course. A few action zones I think we have to talk about from for the rest of this race. Turn 1, obviously, it's very tricky to get in the corner right because they must balance the throttle and the brake quite a lot into turn 2. And they've got to make sure that they warm their tyres up in the formation lap, otherwise they're going to get cold tyres. Turn 6 as well, where we saw Daniel Ricciardo made that infamous move into turn 6, which was amazing, I have to say. Turn 13 as well, heading into the DRS straight, and then turn 14 into the hairpin, and turn 16 final corner are your action zones for today, of course. And the drivers have been told to not ready up too early this week, because for the second time in a row last week, someone readied up too early, and it was a bit unfair. So hopefully no one readies up this week, but I'm sure Vitality will remember what to do, of course. But everyone is going in to the pits to finish their lap. I still strongly think it's going to rain, because no one has opted for the mediums, and I thought at least one driver would go on the medium tyres, because I'm sure some people won't be wanting to start on the mediums inside the top 10 due to the tyre wear around this track.
I think they're probably just trying to save the mediums for the race, knowing the softs aren't a great race tyre around here, so they didn't want to perhaps take a couple of laps off the mediums that they might need later on. But it could rain, you could be right there, but I have no idea at this point. But there's a lot of people in the chat cheering for Netsky at the moment, so he's got some fans, so can he handle the pressure?
Yep, and speaking of Netsky, he was not on the cold list for the media day this week, which was great to see. He's basically in the middle now, and surely if he actually gets another good result today, maybe by the media he will be put into the hot list as well. But in the hot list this week is Samba after last week, pushing the reigning champion to the limit, and looks to be the most comfortable earlier on. And can he sustain the push? Well, hopefully tonight will be the night he could do. He's in 7th at the moment, but all it counts is the race. You don't get points in qualifying, you get points in the race. And there's one driver that didn't do too well this week, and he's one of our car drivers. Believe it or not, Matt, he's not here tonight. So we can't really talk much bad about him.
Well, I guess that's sort of what happens when you're cold. you sort of have problems you can't deal with. No, I hope he doesn't think I'm taking it personally. I like Arnold as a driver. He's a decent lad. He's just having a really bad start to the season. But, these things happen to all of us, and Vienna's had enough of this session.
Yep, he's retired as Rafa is in pole position at the moment, 128.7. So a few times starting to crop up at the moment as well. And speaking of Rafa, he was also asked in the driver's press conference on why his performance has been so inconsistent this season. And he said Canada was a good race for him because he was showing a lot of racecraft. But in Singapore, he was way quicker, but got unlucky because of the undercut from the other drivers, and also the dreaded safety car. We didn't get a safety car in Prospect, but knowing what happened in Singapore last week with Pinnacle, we could see one today. So let's hope for Rafa's sake he doesn't get one. But he said to the media that he thinks his pace is there and he just needs to stay calm and find more confidence in the race. Because I know he can do it. He is a top tier driver at the end of the day, and we know we could go a lot faster than we see fit, to be honest. But he's doing very well up there in the top.
Yeah, he's definitely doing very well, but sometimes safety cars help your race, sometimes they hinder it, and unfortunately, as he said, he just got caught out by it last week, especially with the Cup. But maybe we won't see one at all. It's very difficult to trigger one here, I think. There's not a lot of spaces I can think of where you might need one, but unless four cars collide at the hairpin, I don't know. But if that happens now, that's not on me. But let's see what happens.
You never know, it could happen. The hairpin is quite tricky. There was a few instances in the first few laps where I almost got a bit tangled as well. So if anyone can probably get tangled, probably any drivers can as well. 30 seconds left to go on the clock. Everyone just about to start their laps, and we got a Haas car that's about to start that fatality. Jules says goodbye. He's no longer taking part in the qualifying. He can start no higher than P15 as well. So he goes into the pit lane as well. And I'm just trying to see. It may be Noah actually being one of the first drivers to come across the line. Did very, very well on his debut last week. Can he go on good form this week, of course? ERT being one of our sponsors, getting free race premium to the league and a free entry free as well. And they provide the prize to go and get Tough Award. And he goes P13 at the moment with a 129.6. We got a racing point that's about to cross the line, and I can't see where they are. Maybe Chris, actually, that's coming across the line. Nope, he's going into the pits. He's bought in his lap. It's not Khalifa that's next, it's his teammate. ERT Josh, let's see what he could do. The shortest run to the line. Not pole, it's 12th position at 129.594. We got one of the Ferraris. It's not Lakitu, as Lakitu has binned it. But what can Rafa do? Can Rafa get higher than a 128.7? Yes, he can. A 128.5. That was a stonking lap. I believe he was purple in the final sector as well. So great for him. And we got Khalifa that managed P8. Next, we got Netsky can only manage P2. What about his teammate Toxic? P2 as well. So we got Mercedes 2-3. I don't think Lakitu will be too happy with that. Chris has retired from the session. Larky can only manage 5th. Lakitu's spinning. We just got, I believe, Samba, who unfortunately has invalidated. So we're waiting on Tom R now to come across the line to finish his lap, and that will be the end of qualifying then. So what can he do? 129.1, so that puts him inside the top 10. If it's a dry race, not where you want to be in 9th position.
I mean, there's not that much difference between 9th and 11th in this tier. I mean, if you look at the times, there's about a 10th between all three of them, so it's not that bad. He's got 9th, he'll take that on his CV, about 9th place, but yeah, 11th is in a better position if it is a dry race, but in reference to my earlier comment, of course, Netsky can handle the pressure. He's a Viking. So, yeah, the fans are really in to see Netsky tonight, and it's good to have them here, but I will let Jess do the official grid.
Okay, so your official grid for this evening for the Pinnacle tier, the final race of the evening. We got Rafa on pole, but only 4 100ths of a second, so pretty close to Toxic in second. Netsky in third, Vienna in fourth, then we got Larkin in fifth, Glock in 6th, Lakitu in 7th, Khalifa in 8th, not far from his home track actually, so not too bad for him. Tomar in 9th, Samba in 10th, and people outside the top 10 who have 3 choice of tyres, but it's a dry race, is Chris, Konzo, Josh, Fatality, Noah, Jules, Carl and Cliffrey. We've got an 18 car grid tonight, only 2 drivers missing, which is not too shabby to say the least as well. And we're going to see what the weather throws at the race. I have a feeling we could see some rain on our hands, but knowing Cody's, he'll probably throw some... oh, no, but it's not raining, it's sunny. So I'm guessing they wanted to get most of the tops. They want to get the softs out of the way. But I'll leave it over to you, Matt, to go us through our sponsors.
Yeah, thanks, and good to see Blue Sky here, of course. But the first sponsor we have is Liam RBS, who sponsors the wonderful trophies that the top 3 get, which is awesome. The Next Level Racing is sponsoring the giveaway with an NS Light cockpit thing. Vespertine, our partner there, they're awesome. Thank you for them. And Time to Print 3D, where you can get 20% off this week's track. And the ERT Go and Get Stuff Award, which is for the drivers to attend all media interviews. And I didn't see who read it all first there, so it could be a penalty coming there. Wasn't paying attention. All interviews, all races, and just do their best in them. And of course you have 3M. We are giving a pair of sim racing gloves to the winner of the most fastest laps and the most pole positions of the season. So thank you to our wonderful sponsors, and let's get back to the racing action.
Yes, and also thank you to Thibaut, who has created our TAS system, which is in use today. I don't know why the bot is not working again this week, but I'm sure we will keep you up to date with what's going on, of course, throughout the race. So strategy today is either going to be soft, medium, medium, or soft, or medium, medium, soft, I would say, for the drivers. Because if you try and do soft, medium, soft, or medium, soft, soft, it's going to be really, really hard with your tyre degradation. So we're looking at the tyres now, as everyone outside the top 10, not a surprise really, to be honest, has gone for the medium tyres. So everyone outside the top 10 is going for the alternate strategy, and the person on alternate strategy pole position is Chris. Alternate strategy works very, very well around here on this game, so maybe this could be something for him to use for this race. And don't forget, the drivers have got to do a 2-stop around this track. We did see someone fall victim of that in the points tier with Matthias, I believe, who got disqualified due to only stopping once. Everybody else so far tonight has managed to do 2 stops and followed the rules, so that's great news. Hopefully no one has forgotten. Is it a big surprise that everyone outside the top 10 has gone for the mediums?
Nope, not really. Yeah, it's the right thing to do, and if you have to run the hard round here as well, they are very, very temperamental to keep in the window and get up there, as I found out to my cost earlier, but that's for another stream, another meeting. But yeah, I'm sure if any of these guys are forced to run the hard, I'm sure they'll do a lot better job of it than I did. But they are just warming their tyres up to the best of their abilities as they come down that long straight on the DRS zone, which will be active on lap 3, of course, and we will see who gets away the best off the line. Will probably be down to who gets the most heat into their tyres on this formation lap.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said earlier as well at the start of the race, you don't really want to have cold tyres at the start. So if people are not weaving, then they're probably not warming up their tyres correctly. Because the hairpin, you definitely need warm tyres heading up to turns 1 and 3 as well. I'm just seeing if there was a few drivers that like turn 1. How do they like it or dislike it? Samba hates it. Fatality thinks it's hard to nail turn 1, and I'm just trying to see if anyone else likes turn 1. Netsky, of course, he likes it too, and obviously Glock does as well, so interested to see how that gets on as well. So we're just waiting for Cliffy, I believe, who's in last place. Let's see what he could do. Can he get from the back of the grid to near the front? We'll find out as the 5 red lights will be going on very, very soon. Rafa on pole and Mercedes in second. We haven't seen that in the while, have we? With a Ferrari in P1 and Mercedes in P2. And it's a bit of a long... Who are we waiting for? I don't even know who we're waiting for, because we've just got an empty grid at the moment. So hopefully we won't have a lobby restart. No, we're not. It was just a very long hold as the 5 red lights are coming on. The final race of the night begins Right now, and it's a good start from Toxic up front. Not a good start from Rafa, though, as they head towards turn 1. A bit of a tap from both of them as well. This may give Neski an advantage. Vienna also has a very good start heading towards now turn 2. They're going side by side. The Mercedes actually being swamped by a lot of cars too, so he didn't get off to what he wanted around one of his favourite tracks as well. Sam has got a good start too as well, heading towards, I would say, turn 4 and 5. Larkin got a good start into P7 already, but let's see. Lakitu trying to go side by side into turn 6, doing a bit of a dive bomb there, doing very, very well. Netsky trying to fight back through the field. It's going to be a lot difficult for him. Cliffy's already up into 17th. So far, no major issues so far, but the biggest story is Rafa dropping down from 1st to 3rd.
Yeah, that's a big story. Everyone else seems to have gotten through quite cleanly, and no one seemed to have cold tyres off the formation. Like, we wouldn't want to have cold tyres, would we, Jess?
No, as we both found out earlier on in Prospect, but we don't want to go too much into that. But to be honest, that's, if you have cold tyres in lap 1, then it will come back to bite you, as we both found out earlier on. But anyway, we've got Larkin, who's probably going to try and go for a move for Netsky. Netsky seems to be struggling at the moment. We've got a lot of drivers as well trying to get out of each other's slipstream. Cliffy already's up to 15th place. Good pace on those mediums for him. Josh, meanwhile, on the other hand, also had a good start. Gets past Jules, but can he keep it stick on the exit heading towards the final corner of turn 16? He does. As has Toxic gone off, or is it the timing's going off? Nope, it's the timing's going off. Unfortunately, we're not on lap 3, we're on lap 2, unfortunately. So let's hope the timings will fix itself momentarily. But it is Toxic that still leads. But I have to say, great start from Cliffy. Jules maintains P12 from Josh, so Josh couldn't get it on this occasion. Still going side by side, heading past turn 4. Josh really wants to get past. He doesn't want to get held up by Jules. Sooner or later then, past turn 5, heading in towards turn 6. I don't think he's going to get the move. Nope, he does not. So he stays in P14. But some great moves in the midfield so far.
Yeah, some very good battles early on, all up and down the field, which is what we see every week here in the Pinnacle tier, and it's amazing. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. There's just a fatality seems to be... Yeah, he seems to be having a bit of an issue. He's dropped all the way to the back there, which is not going to make his afternoon any easier. But I've got Tom Oz all over the back of Lakitu here, and that is just going to be a battle that I think is going to roll on for a few laps. But Khalifa's on the back of that one as well, so we're going to see what happens as we're still not on lap 3. For me, I'm still on lap 3. I don't know if your timing tower sorted itself out yet, but they were supposed to fix that. Gold is.
Yeah, they never do it actually. It's on lap 2 on my screen, so at least the stream can see lap 2 as Khalifa tries to dive around the inside of Tom R, going side by side, heading past turn 15 and into turn 16 as well. Khalifa has never finished outside the top 10 so far this season, and he was hoping for just actual some points, and he's actually been getting some good points this season as well. Currently P5 in the championship standing so far, scoring some great points for Red Bull. Doing great on these softs, even though he's last at the moment, but watch out for his pace later on in the race so far. And in particular, watch out for Chris as well. He's maintained his P11 start, being the first of the medium runners. So for him, getting a good start was crucial, and he definitely did that as well. So watch out for the crossover period at lap 4 is where we can see the mediums faster, as we got another yellow flag. And that is Kyle, actually, one of the AlphaTauris, who has unfortunately had a really unlucky season so far. 13th in the standings, only 4 points to his name. I need to actually check in the TAS system if he's got any damage. I think, oh nope, he got away with damage actually, but he's sliding the car everywhere, so his tyres is probably not very good.
Yeah, maybe not. We've lost Tom off in the race. I'm not sure what's happened there.
Safety
maybe
car.
Yeah, that's our first safety car I'm aware of all night, but he's had a bit of a shocking start. He's down to P6, but he is purple through Sector 1, so he's the best through there at this stage, so he's obviously set his car up differently to some of the other drivers. But now it's reset time. Will they come in early and try and long stint the mediums? We'll find out shortly, and those medium runners probably won't pit. There's no need to, so let's see what the leaders do.
Netsky in the pre-race interviews was hoping that he wasn't going to get a safety car, but there is a safety car, so Netsky must be pretty worried as well. But yeah, if I was on the soft, I would definitely pit now. Free pit stop, you're gonna use the pit lane loss to your advantage, well, the reduction anyway, to this as well. 22.5 seconds is what drivers will be faced in the without the safety car, but with the safety car, it'll be a lot less around China, as we've got everybody that started on the softs goes into the pits. We even got a few medium runners going into the pits as well, which is a bit of a shock, I would say. But I'm guessing some of those drivers will either go on another set of mediums or go on to maybe some set of hards potentially as well. So Noah goes on some hards. Oh, the Husky team are being held up there, which is not good. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You lose more time and when you're on the track really than not. So it is the best decision to pit. And Carl, the safety cars, came at a right time. He can pit for a fresh set of tyres and he can focus on the rest of the race to try and get those to a suitable ground as well. But yeah, Toxic still is the net race leader out of the ones who pitted so far. Only 3 drivers have yet to pit. That is Konzo, Josh and Cliffy. Will that come back to bite them later on in the race?
It's a valid question, and I'm not sure at this point. I mean, it's what I would have done. I would have definitely stayed out if I was already on the mediums. To me, there's no point pitting unless you've got damage to get off the mediums to go to more mediums, which is just a smart move. But we'll see if that's going to hinder them later on in the race. But for now, you just could enjoy this sight of a McLaren at the front of the grid.
I wonder if we're going to see that in real life in Portimao, of course, because they've been looking quite strong this weekend in free practice. So get used to it while you can, folks, because you may be seeing a McLaren in the podium for long times to come at this stage. Thank you to those of you that have been watching the stream so far as well. And don't forget, if you want to get involved in the giveaway, make sure you follow us on Twitter and also follow us on Twitch as well. Follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and also our Discord and YouTube as well. You can get entered into a GT Light giveaway as well. You don't have to be driving in to take part. Konzo goes into the pit. Don't know why. You may have picked up damage or something, but yeah, if I were you, I would enter the giveaway if you are interested in winning a GT Light cockpit. I'm just checking to see if Konzo's picked up damage. He does not. I think he realised that other people have pitted and maybe that would be a sensible option. But like you said, Matt, probably not the smartest move. But he's in the pits anyway. He's made his first stop. He's got it out of the way. Maybe he could go on to maybe a Seb Haas later on in the race as well. Because if you want to go on a Seb Soft, you have to stretch your mediums for quite some time. Because I'm trying to see how long the mediums last around here. They last 16 laps. So it's gonna be tough, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Konzo will go on the softs at the end, but we'll find out in due course. But at least Konzo's stop is out of the way. It's just Josh and Cliffy left to stop now.
Yeah, I mean, they will make it. If they go mediums to softs, they can do that because the cars are lighter at the end of the race. There's more rubber down on the track, so it's going to be presumably easier to do it that way as well. And of course, Jules doesn't have to stop again. He's on the hard, so he could well be going to the end. So keep an eye out for his progress, and let's see how much of a recovery drive he could make. Forget what I said earlier about not being able to tune the tyres. That was probably just my issue. Let's see if it was me or if these tyres really are as bad as I thought they were.
Yeah, we'll look at the tyre wear, of course, to see how they manage, of course. Fatality, another one being on those hard tyres as well. Let's see if he can come from the back of the grid as well. And that was quick. The safety car is in this lap, and the safety car light is off. So Josh is going to be your safety car as well, and he's probably going to get wanting to get going very, very quickly, or he just want to hold up the field a little bit too much. We'll find out as well. Toxic, though, is probably keen to get past these two as well, because Josh and Cliffy haven't made a stop yet. Toxic has as well. We'll look at see positions gained as well out of all the drivers that are pitted. Samba's gained the most out of everybody, so has Noah as well with 2, and Kyle with 2. Everyone else has drop position for the time being, but I think it will neutralise as Josh and Cliffy go into the pit lane to serve their first of 2 mandatory stops as they head towards the hairpin of turn 14. I think Josh is warming up his tyres. He wants to be really, he wants to make sure he helps up the field a lot here. He just wants to be sure he gets the best start out of everybody. And he accelerates in the final corner, and there we go green flag racing once again here at the Pinnacle tier. And there we go, Toxic going side by side with Cliffy as they head towards turn 1. If he doesn't get past him, he's going to be in a lot of trouble as well, because his tyres are very, very fresh, and he's going to have really bad tyre temperatures if he doesn't get past Traffic Vienna on the other hand. it's probably not going to have too much trouble. Rafa going side by side with Vienna as well, heading towards turn 4. Couldn't quite make it stick though on the other hand. Toxic gets past Cliffy. Vienna does not on the other hand, so we'll find out too. But Toxic's going to find it so difficult just to get past Josh. Even, I think some of the drivers in the other tiers are finding getting past traffic difficult. So I wonder if these drivers are going to have something similar, especially with all these drivers being so close on pace, it looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy when you follow another car. The 38 is going to get pretty horrendous for some of these drivers some part of the race, but for now it should be manageable as it's just started to be a thing, and they will gradually sprace themselves out, I'm sure, especially when they get back to the DRS being in use, as you have to do 2 complete laps after a full safety car period for that to happen, of course. But we have some Toxic definitely got past, and he's going for a move for the lead of this race. Can he have enough grunt in that Mercedes, which would be a thing in real life, definitely last season, but can he get it into the braking zone? Cliffy nearly makes a mess of it, but so far everyone is through pretty cleanly there, but there's plenty of side-by-side action further down the field as there's Renault slightly out of shape coming into the final corner.
That's allowed Larkin, I think, to potentially get past him as well. But Larkin, I think, has dropped a little bit from Samba. So I think Samba definitely got away with that earlier on with that as well. Samba gained 4 positions as well because of that. But I know Samba will definitely want to get more and forget about the mistake as well. They're still within that train potentially as well. And I know Samba will be very keen to get past Rafa too. Vienna must be absolutely frustrated with himself that he can't get past Cliffy and Josh. Maybe Cliffy and Josh are just going on the mediums very, very fast. As I said that, I had a bit of a commentator's curse there as Cliffy just had a bit of a slide there going past turn 6 as Vienna's got past him as well. Maybe would have sent Rafa an opportunity to get past too, but I know Cliffy is definitely fighting back. I do not know why, but I'm guessing Cliffy wants to upset the party a little bit because you never know, there could be another safety car added to the mix around here. But, you know, Samba could be in the mix as well. Has he almost tried to get past Rafa? That was almost a dive bomb there from Samba, but he stays P6. He didn't want to get involved in any trouble and he wanted to keep it clean because patience is a key around this Chinese Grand Prix circuit, as Samba has got probably going to get, no, it's no DRS yet, but he's got plenty of slipstream from the car in front though, but I think it's going to be very hard with the train as well. So no overtakes yet, but maybe on the next lap.
Yeah, perhaps on the next lap if you just get yourselves a little bit closer, but there is a massive train forming from 1st to 7th, as you can probably see there. Neski is not too far off in 8th, but Larkin's definitely gained on that lap. He's gained a little bit of time from the cars behind him, so hopefully they'll start to sort themselves out as you have Toxic's actually gained a little bit more. My timing's still very, very skew from the start, but there's a lot of cars fighting for second and downwards here, so that is what we like to see.
Yeah, as Rafa's just got past Cliffy now up into 4th place, 3rd on the road, and net P3 right now as well. Really wants to get some points for Ferrari. Looking at how well he's performing so far, then maybe this could be his opportunity as well. We're going to see as well what everyone's tyre life is looking, especially I'm keeping an eye on Josh and Cliffy right now because they haven't pitted, and seeing how their mediums are looking compared to everybody else's medium tyres. So Josh is on 29% front left, 26, 27, 26. Cliffy is a little bit worse for wear right now, 37, 30, 26, 26, 24. So for some of the tyres, Cliffy's not doing too bad. For some of the tyres, Cliffy's doing a bit worse. But Josh seems to be on the upper hand right now, but you can tell that Vienna's fresher mediums is definitely helping him here as he gets past Josh up into 2nd place on the road, and definitely a net P2 for now. And all this is doing is allowing Toxic to pull away by 2.6 seconds. He hasn't won a race in ages. This could be his first race win in a long time. Samba gets past Cliffy as well. Maybe Cliffy will be thinking very, very soon to do their first stop. Maybe around about lap 10 or lap 11 is when the medium runners will be coming in. Well, Cliffy and Josh anyway. Conzo's already pitted and made their stop. But you can see the grip that Cliffy is having is just not good.
No, I hate it, but maybe he's falling off a cliff. But lockdown in P11 has slight wing damage as well in all that mayhem. But yeah, the thing about the tyres between Cliffy and Josh, I think that will be just but their setups are slightly different. So one is going to lean more on the front left, and one will lean slightly more on the front right. But that's just probably setup based. But they will be pitted in the next couple of laps for sure, and we'll see what they go on to. Probably more mediums to do the softs at the end.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Glock's damage. He's got minor damage, 12% on his left front wing. So that's why he's losing a bit of downforce, especially on the straights. So that's really not going to help him, especially when you're coming through this left-right complex of corners here, heading towards turn 13 now. So I won't be surprised if Chris could catch up anytime soon as well in 12th place. Another driver that was hoping for the safety car to never happen, and he's probably been the one that's been the most disadvantaged from that safety car, because he was going to hope he could do that alternate strategy. Speaking of alternate strategy, Carl gets past Noah very, very well there, even before reaching the hairpin there, but Noah is staying put for now. He's got Kondo under pressure as Cliffy goes into the pits. Glock's got the first 3-second time penalty of the day, and I wonder if Cliffy's going to go on another set of mediums or maybe potential hard tyres as well, but he's dropping way down the order here, which is probably him regretting his choices, but he's got one of the last two pit at least, and he's on the soft tyres. He's probably seeing something that we're not seeing, but I thought he would have gone on another set of mediums, but I've seen someone do this in Prospect, someone do medium, soft, medium. It did work for a few drivers, not for everybody. And I think there was one other team I saw on this as well, so it's not new, but quite interesting now. That's something I would have not done.
No, I mean, just in the midst of all that, I was about to say, if I was Glock right now, I would box, because I have a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane the previous time around, and go to the hard and see what happens, and that is exactly what he has done. He is last on the road right now, but he's still in a good position to get points later on in the race as he gets those hards into the right temperature window. They are a little bit temperamental in staying there, but there is an almighty train from second downwards coming down the back straight. That is an amazing view.
And speaking of that, Khalifa's just got past his teammate Josh up into P7. He's had a good race so far. So is Josh too. Not going to lie, even though he has to pit again, but I think there was team orders there. Khalifa with the fresher tyres, Josh still having to pit, and yes, that is a sign that he's going in to the pit as well. Probably going to be in a better position than Cliffy, but luckily he does not speed in the pit lane, so that is great to see there. So Khalifa's going to probably concentrate on trying getting past Netsky now. Larkin again with a bit of a slide there, going to the start of turn 3, but no big deal for Larkin. He's up into P4. He's qualified P5. He's staying P5 for now, and if he can maintain this position for the rest of this race, then I'm sure he's going to be one very happy person. He's been Mr. Consistent pretty much last season and this season as well, so that is why he deserves to be in the Pinnacle tier. Of course, he's known in a lot of leagues too, and he's known to be a very quick little man. Not as quick as some of the other drivers here as well, but I have to say, one driver to keep an eye on is ERT Samba, driver that is on the charge fast, is in qualifying night, and is looking to try and catch up to the top 3. If Rafa does not get a move on to pass Vienna, Samba can knock on the door and say, you know what, I could get in that position. So Samba's just biding his time right now, 7/10 behind. He's not going to get the move yet, but maybe in the next few laps if Rafa doesn't get a move on.
Yeah, you can definitely see he'll start to visibly close with the aid of this DRS, but I don't think even Samba can find that much time down this straight on this occasion, but he's just getting himself into position as Rafa is being held up by Vienna a little bit. I think Samba is way quicker than them, so in a couple of laps, Samba could definitely be in P2 of this race.
Yeah, I want to see their fastest lap times as well. Vienna's last lap time was a 1:34.1, Rafa 1:34.0, so yeah, he was definitely held up there, but Samba was a bit slow that last lap as well, unless Taz is probably maybe not updating quickly enough, but we'll find out very, very soon. But just an interesting stat about the race so far. Toxic is faster than anybody in sector 1 and 3, but Cliffy just butchered my stat there, and he's faster in all 3 sectors, but Cliffy is on the soft compounder tyres, and Cliffy right now knows he's not going to get much points. He wants to try and get points for the fastest lap, which could contribute towards him getting a 3M sim cards. I don't know who's winning the race on how many fastest laps people have got so far. And don't forget, it's not just for all 5 tiers, it's for all 5 tiers combined, not each. So to be honest, you've got to work very, very hard to try and get it so far, and looks like Cliffy is doing so. And yeah, Rafa closer once again this lap. 6 tenths, he was about 8 tenths per second earlier. You've got to be like 3 or 2 tenths behind if you want to get any sense of a move. That's why not many moves are done as of yet. Everyone has made their first stop, I believe, if I check yes, everyone has made their stop, with Jules making 2 stops. I know Jules will need to stop again. There's no way that those tyres will get to the end, but you never know, you'll probably be proven wrong there. Rafa's just biding his time, but the more that he stays behind Vienna, the more that his tyres are going to heat up, and he's going to lose a lot of wear, and that's going to be costly in terms of pit stops, and he may have to go on to maybe the hard instead of the medium, which is not ideal. But you know, we'll see what happens. It's not over until it's over. You don't get points until the end of this race.
Nope. If points were given out before the end of the race, some of us wouldn't bother.
Exactly.
Anyhow, yeah, Jules can make it to the end. He is on the hards. It will be difficult for him because they are quite old at this point, but look to see Glock improve with the fresher hards later on in the race. But yeah, Cliffy's on the softs. He's going to go for a little bit of glory now, and maybe he can get himself a fastest lap if no one else up front decides to go on the softs later on, which they probably will do. But I think he's just trying to get himself immersed into this race because he's not had the best start to it, unfortunately. It happens to all of us at some point, but how you bounce back from that is the issue. But Rafa is still behind Vienna, and Samba is still trying to gain, and I think he's definitely closer than he was the last couple of times around. It's down to 6 tenths just under that, and he has the DRS, so let's see if he can. He won't be able to make a move, but Larkin is behind that, and he will have DRS as well, so there's double DRS going on down the straight. Can they all stop in time? That's what I had issues with earlier when I had DRS.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's really hard, I would say, but to get your car stopped in time into the hairpin. There was quite a few times in this race where I ended up locking up and ended up nearly going into the wall. Luckily, I didn't get any damage, but probably Taz picked up on me getting minor damage with the game saying I didn't get damage. So sometimes you may lose a bit of ground to your rivals, but yeah, it's definitely bouncing back from it is important, because if you concentrate on your negative mindset all the time, you're never gonna do well in the race, to be honest. So just pretend it never happened, focus on the rest of the race, and it'll be done with you as well. But yeah, this is like a 4-5-way fight for P2 for the podium slots. Khalifa is still in this race as well. Only 2 drivers yet to get a penalty, so it's have already got penalty. Sorry, everybody else has got no penalty. So it's going to come down to really the setup of the drivers and everyone's pure pace as to who's going to win this race. It's not going to be like Singapore where some positions are decided due to penalties. I think it's going to be down to pure pace, and for some of these drivers, they're going to hope that people make mistakes, but it seems like nobody else is budging after Tomo has retired, which is great to see, I guess. Even though Glock has picked up some damage earlier, I believe he's pitted a few moments ago as well. So yes, let's see what Rafa could do a little bit further back on Vienna there. So Vienna's doing very well to try and increase the pace a bit. I wonder if he's been told by his Jeff to get a move on.
He may well have done, and that could also contribute to corner cutting penalties, as we have several warnings throughout the field. We have Toxic, Lakitu, Chris, Kyle, Jules, and I think one other driver have 2 warnings, so they have to take it pretty careful and still try and push. And you have, as you say, you have the 2 drivers on the 3 seconds of track infringements there, but I think Khalifa's just picked up warning. No, he has gone into the pit lane, so he's falling through the order, but he's just... Yeah, good call that.
Yeah, that is a good call. Khalifa, I've known this by watching a lot of OneHub races. Khalifa, I would say, is an undercut merchant. If there's an opportunity for him to go for the undercut, he goes for the undercut. So I would say a very, very smart. The mediums, as it stands, will get it to the end. It's going to be very, very fresh as well. And I'm sure everybody else around him will probably respond to that as well. Has Josh got to make one more stop? Yes, Josh has to make one more stop. Jules and Noah going side by side. Pretty much battle for 1 extra point, because you do get points if you finish inside the top 12. But Jules wants to get that extra point, but he's not that far from Carl either. Let's see what Larkin can do behind Samba. The most crucial thing, Samba is out of DRS of Rafa at the moment, so he's lost it on this straight, which is not ideal, but he's trying to stop Larkin for getting any slipstream. That is a very, very good tactic from both of these, well, pretty much from both of these drivers to see what they can do. I'm seeing if anyone is responding to Khalifa's pit stop. Toxic isn't. What about Vienna? No, but Rafa is responding to Khalifa. Rafa is in the pits.
Yep, that's what you call responding to someone, and you saw several other drivers go in as well. So that's all. It's all starting now, and sorry about that. You saw the key to a moment ago was a little bit slightly coming out of it. I think he was just trying to avoid the very deep Mercedes, which has also gone into the pit, so that's not an issue for him now. And let's see if he can really put the hammer down, and let's see if he can keep this position when he's done his final stop.
Khalifa going side by side with Larkin heading towards turn 2. Very hard, but Larkin just about holds on. But Khalifa has jumped Netsky in the pit lane. He didn't manage to jump the Samba Larkin at all, but he jumped Netsky. So Khalifa's pit stop was timed very, very well indeed. Rafa getting ahead of all of these drivers, of course, because there was a little bit of a gap between Rafa and Samba. He actually gained 8 tenths from that pit stop. Rafa has, so that's brilliant. So Rafa, Samba, Larkin, Khalifa and Netsky, they've already done their 2 stops, as well as Chris, Kyle, Glock and Cliffy and Jules. Everybody else still have got to make one more stop. If they do not, they will get a disqualification from the stewards, which is worse than a DNF, so they'll be put to the bottom of the field. But luckily I don't think anyone's going to be in that position, because there's no way the tyres will make the distance anyway. But Khalifa is under pressure from the ever-charging Netsky up behind as well, so Khalifa may not stay a net P5 for long, as Khalifa didn't challenge Netsky there. Netsky gets position, but can Khalifa hold on? He does not, and he's not going to go for the switchback either, which is a sensible thing to do. He's going to let Netsky push and probably wonder if Netsky will probably have much worse tyre wear. But meanwhile, a few more people into the pits. Toxic and Lakitu has made their second pit stop. Where will Lakitu come out of all of this? Just behind, actually way behind Khalifa at the moment. And I did see Toxic is ahead, due to the fact that he was way ahead anyway. So well, no matter what he did, overcut or undercut, he would have taken the lead. So unless a bottle happens from Toxic, he's going to win the race. But it's not over until it's over, so we won't say anything yet. But Toxic's in a very good position right now.
Yeah, he's in a good position right now, but that could always change if he takes his eye off the ball or just has a lapse of concentration. He could have a very good position to absolutely terrible position. So it's important you have to keep your push level up, but not too far. And there's a limit of how far you can lapse, as we saw Ensen famously do in Monaco. They asked him to slow down, and he kind of couldn't drive that slow. So, you know, he was about a lap in front of everyone else. But sometimes you're in the groove and you lapse out of the groove, and suddenly you have all sorts of trouble. I'm just doing some quick mental maths, by the way. As your leader is only getting 1 point, and Samba is getting more than that. So there will be a change if and finishes the way that it is.
Yeah, so Samba will be leading the championship. So Samba would have been leading the championship last week if he didn't finish below his rivals. But yeah, Samba showing that consistency is key, as George Russell would say. So Samba doing a fantastic job as well. Rafa can claw back from this as well, and is also looking very, very good. If you're Mercedes in the constructors as well, looking to close in on Ferrari. Mercedes are currently sitting 6th in the constructors standing, for probably will jump quite a lot due to Toxic and Netsky's fantastic result. And Netsky could still get Larkin here as well, which is great to see, but I'm sure Larkin will never give up without a fight. And I'm a bit intrigued as to why Vienna has not pitted yet. Maybe he wants to go for maybe some softs, but softs only last 7 laps, so maybe that's not the wisest move. But maybe he wants to go for a cheeky fastest lap point. Maybe he's probably seeing a late safety car in our midst. No threat of rain for the time being. Nice clouds sunny clouds at this moment in time, but you can see Jules is a lot slower due to the fact he's on the hard tyres as Toxic gets past him up into third place, not that far before he gets into the race lead. And Vienna's probably regretted that he's not pitted yet because he's going to be way behind Toxic. I think he's going to come out maybe ahead behind Samba or Netsky potentially. Speaking of Samba and Larkin gets past Samba into the hairpin up into P7. Netsky a bit late on the brakes there, and that might have costed him, but that's probably a bit too close for comfort there as the drivers behind have not gained on that fact, but we shall see. But Vienna is probably regretting on what he's done right now up in front, but we'll see because the undercut can tend to be powerful.
I don't think he's regretting. I think he's trying to... He knows he's going to lose the lead of the race, and I think he's just trying to bridge the gap to cars that are a little bit further down behind so that when he's on the soft tyres, he doesn't have as much work to do when he comes back out. So I think he's just trying to see how far the gap can remain about consistent, but I'm just trying to figure out where he will come out, and he will definitely be coming out in the top 10. It's just a question of how far he can take these tyres and how much time loss he can negate in doing so. He's looking very confident at the moment. Having said that, he's had a little bit of a moment as he approaches the final sector, so that will definitely have cost him a few tenths here or there. As you can see, the gap has just dipped below 13 seconds for the first time in quite a while. But yeah, I'm sure he'll go a couple more laps and then he'll be in for the soft tyres, and then he can have some fun towards the end of this race.
I think maybe he's going for that fastest lap point. Maybe he's going for the 3M sim gloves that we all know and love. That's potentially what his tactic maybe is as well. But to be fair, he's not doing too bad in the standings. Currently P6 as well. So surely he may want some extra points. And speaking of him, he dives it in to the pit lane. Now, if he wanted to go on soft, I would have stayed out a little bit more than that. But the mediums are pretty much next to gone anyway, so he has no other choice. So, and he goes on to the soft tyres. Now, softs only last 7 laps. That's going to be a tough 8 laps of this race, 9 laps of this race. I made the same mistake in season 15, and you know what? The tyres were like 70-80% at the end of it. It was lucky I didn't get a puncture. I'm going to keep a close eye on this guy to see if he can handle the pressure, and let's hope his wheels do not explode. But at least he's done his 2 stops now. That all that leaves is Konzo and Josh, I believe, to do is their 2 stops. Everybody else has done their compulsory 2 stops, of course, but I'm sure the ones left to do their 2 stops haven't forgotten. They've been at OneHub for goodness knows how long, but we've seen people that have been here a long time forget sometimes, so we shall see.
We certainly will, but I think he's going to be absolutely fine because there's more rubber down on the track now. The cars are much lighter than they were at the start, so you can definitely get a couple more useful laps out of the softs towards the end of a race, such as what he's going to do now. And he's in P11, so he's in the points, and he's not that far off 7th place. If you look at the gaps, he can definitely do that with the pace that he's got, and the softs and the medium will be fighting each other, so hopefully he can get in the top 7 by the end. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on his progress.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, oh my goodness, Lakita almost trying to get past Vienna there as well. This is a very tight battle into that hairpin of turn 14 and 15. Noah is doing his final stop, so is Konso, so they won't have to forget about the 2 stop in a hurry as well. Netsky, on the other hand, and Lakitu has pit themselves 3-second time penalties. We got Lakitu and Vienna going side by side into turn 4. Looks like Lakitu's going to get a better line going into turn 4. Now heading towards turn 5 very, very soon. A little bit of a bump from both the cars. That will allow Khalifa to pull away. Heading towards turn 6. I think Khalifa's trying to cover off both the drivers, but this is very, very tense between all 3 drivers. We know Vienna has got the softer tyres, but we know that Vienna does not have the durability later on in the race. So if Vienna wants to get the move, he wants to get the move done now. But you can see Lakitu being a very patient little man in 9th position. Khalifa's probably being a little bit worried, but if I was Khalifa right now, I will let Vienna through because the longer it goes on for, the longer it's probably going to maybe not help Vienna and Khalifa. It's not going to help anyone, I don't think. So we've got to get a move on ASAP. And Khalifa has feels like Khalifa's watching my stream, but he's not, as Vienna gets past him, and Larkin gets past Jules there as well in a similar move, but that was just before the hairpin of turn 14 there. So, and Khalifa could actually get Vienna back again as well. Nope, he cannot, but Khalifa's holding on to P8 from Lakitu as well, but I don't think Khalifa has to worry because he doesn't have any penalties. So, but yeah, that was very close. You can already see Vienna pulling away, but a few laps time, the crossover period will happen once again, and Khalifa will be even quicker than him.
I'm not so sure about that. I think he's definitely got enough in him to hold off Khalifa, and he might be able to get Netsky and Samba in the next lap as well, because he's within DRS of them, and he's got much more grip at the moment, but the grip will obviously fall off towards the end of the race. But I think he's probably going to be okay to finish in the... Don't take my word for it, I'm not going to say where he's going to finish. In case that doesn't happen, then I'll get the mail. Oh, you've commentated curse again. But anyway, there's a lot of points to be had for Vienna. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to be by far the quickest man out there of these lead runners. Especially Jules' tyres are not the best now either. So we'll see what he can do.
Jules not doing too bad to hold on to P4, so if he keeps P4 at the end of this race, I think it won't be too shabby for Jules on those hards, but we do know that Samba and Netsky's fresh and mediums is really going to be a bit of a threat to the likes of Jules there as well, and it just showed Jules is just showing you do not give up, and maybe him pitting a little bit earlier on for the hards was probably the best decision for Jules, but he's under pressure from both Netsky, from Samba actually, and Netsky as well heading towards the final corner. Samba almost got Jules there. Samba's right on the gearbox there, heading towards the start finish straight there as well. Could this be 3 wide? Netsky holds back a little bit. Samba easily gets past that up into 4th place, not that far off a podium, which is great to see as well. But with Samba being held up from these guys, it may be a bit of a worry that the podium may have been lost from that battle, but you never know. Samba being consistently quick, it could seize wonders for him as Netsky tries to get past Jules into turn 6. A bit of lock up once again. I have to say, fair play to Jules for holding on to that line there. He's doing incredible to try and make sure Netsky doesn't have anything to do with it. Still a bit of a tap there. Luckily, no damage. That would have been a lot worse. Still going side by side, heading towards 8, 9 and 10. I think Netsky just about had it. Can Vienna get the inside line on the racing point? It's going to be ever so tight. I think Vienna's got it. Oh, that was close from Jules. That would have almost been ended up in a spin there.
Can I come out yet? That was scary. There was 3 cars side by side for a longer than possible around this track, but now you see the advantage of the soft tyres as Vienna just breezes past Netsky with the DRS open, obviously aiding his cause there, but he has so much more grip. He can just attack out of the corners a little bit more quicker than the cars around him, and he is flying right now and could well end up catching the podium within a few laps, as he is just a few tenths behind, as you can see them there going into turn 1 now. So this is this battle is really on.
Yes, it is. We're looking at the tyre wear actually of Vienna as well, because he was the only driver on the sauce. Vienna 38% front left, 31% front right, 32 and 28 on the rear. So he's probably got at pretty much in a similar position as to what those on the medium tyres. Jules though, he's in danger zone. 58%, 52%, 54 and 50. So he's almost on 70, but the tyres are going to make it to the end, but his tyres are definitely worn compared to everybody else on the grid. The one that's doing very well on their tyres, Chris, they're up in P10, 23%, 22% on the rears. I've noticed that in the race that it's usually the fronts that tend to get the most wear, because it is a front heavy track, as I found out when I was practicing earlier and was racing earlier as well. So that's why the fronts tend to wear out more than the rears for some of these drivers. And on lap 24, 28 now, about to start lap 25. The order P1 and 2 is not going to change, but still the final podium still yet to be decided. Samba could still spoil the party, and so could Vienna as well. 7 tenths is the gap right now. Vienna's getting 43% front left now, so he is really starting to struggle, but Let's hope he does not get a puncture. If he gets to the end, that'll just be insane.
Well, if he gets a puncture, all the blame goes to you. But
yeah, that's
no,
fine
I'm just
with me.
doing some more. Well, yeah, okay. They're doing some more quick maths, and as it finishes now, Samba will take the lead by 3 points. He has a 4-point swing, so that is good to see. But there's a lot of tyres out there which could well be struggling, and the race for the fastest lap outside the top 10 is very close as well. There's less than 10th in it between a couple of the drivers, although having said that, 30, yeah, I think that is Cliff is just by about 18 thousandths at the moment. So we'll see, I'm just checking, yeah, 770, 764, 742, yeah, it's Cliff is, but it's very close outside the top 10 there.
And inside the top 10 is Rafa, so pretty much the fastest laps is generally very, very close, so pretty much even split as well. So if Cliffy gets a point regardless of this race, then he's probably gonna be okay about it potentially as well. So Cliffy, don't forget Cliffy's starting near the back of the grid, so he's gained, I believe he was last, I think, as well. So he's still gained quite a few positions in at this race, which is probably a relief to some drivers more than others. No major moves at this stage, but Vienna once again is on the back of Samba. Again, can't quite make the move done, and it shows Samba's consistency. Yellow flag, and that is Chris, unfortunately, that's had an incredible race so far. He's dropped position up down into P13. I'm just seeing if he's got any damage on TAS. No, he does not, so I think he lost it by himself. So, or maybe Glock and Noah got past him, but yeah, Chris is down into 13th position. His tyres couldn't make it to the end though, of course, because his tyres are perfect at the moment, but you know, if the race was going to go on for a very long time, then he probably would have been a little bit worried there. But yeah, that was what the yellow flag is for. We're starting to see Vienna starting to struggle here, so that the temps are increasing from 4 temps to 6 temps, now coming up to 8 temps. So a bit worried for Vienna, but if he thinks he couldn't do it, then he wouldn't have done it. So he is trying at least so far. As Carl goes into the pits, I wonder if he wants to challenge for Cliffy's fastest lap.
Well, I mean, might as well, you're last anyway, so you might as well just have a little bit of fun and see how much pace you can extract from the car for the final couple of laps, as we do have 3 and a bit laps left, and we are getting to the point where it's going to be impossible to call without penalties anyhow. But if penalties start to be picked up by the leaders, that is when they're going to start pushing more, and that is when it's going to become even more predictable. At the moment, Toxic has a just under 3-second lead from Rafa, and he has just about 3 seconds back to Larkin. So at the moment, it's just an even spread between the podium sitters, but I'm sure people from behind will come very strong at the end.
I think Rafa and Larkin are going to hope that Toxic gets another warning, because I think he's 1 warning shy of a penalty, so 2 warnings shy of a penalty, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Toxic's on 2 warnings right now. Rafa and Larkin are on 0. Samba and Vienna on 2, so they're not far off a penalty. Netsky has got 3-second time penalty. Khalifa is only on 1 warning, so Khalifa has been keeping it clean the whole race with only 1 warning to his name. I don't know how you do that in China, but he seems to be doing it very well anyway. And Cliffy is going into the pits. I think he saw what Carl was going to do. It's like, hang on, you're not having that fastest lap. That fastest lap point is mine. So nice competition now, and we like that the fastest lap point is also outside the top 10. Brings a bit of competition as well. I wonder if Josh will be thinking the same thing, or would he be staying out? But, you know, Cliffy had nothing to lose. He was a little bit too further back from his rivals anyway, so an extra point wouldn't do. You'll get 0 points without it anyway. So outside the top 10, I think it's going to be between Noah, Cliffy and Carl for that fastest lap.
Yeah, I'll be watching those deltas very closely over the closing lap, but at the front it's the podium shout, and the only clean drivers out there, squeaky clean, are Rafa and Larkin with no warnings whatsoever. Samba has 2, as does Toxic, and yeah, Khalifa still has just the 1, so the 3 cleanest drivers there are doing quite well, but it's anyone's game at this point. I think Toxic's in a good position, but Rafa can capitalise on any small mistake. It's been 3 seconds now, so Toxic will be feeling the pressure potentially. So I'm excited. This race has been amazing, and it's not over yet.
Yeah, it gets better and better every week, of course. Not the Grand Slam finish that we would have liked this week from the front runners, but Toxic has kept it clean throughout the start of the race. He had an impeccable start as well to get back to, get into P1. Rafa did not get a good start, which probably costed him a little bit, but Rafa's up into P2, back up into P2, which is good news for him. So Toxic has gained 1 position, Rafa's dropped down 1, and Larkin's gained 2. The biggest gainer, Samba's gained 6 positions after starting 10th. So a few contenders for driver of the day, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I think Toxic has probably lost a bit of pace, because look at Rafa, he's gained about a second or something in that lap, or about 5 tenths, I don't know. So maybe the race win may not be Toxic, but if Toxic could just keep it clean, the race victory is his. And the most common corner people invalidate is the final corner. We saw that a few weeks ago into Moneteers, costing the race win, but I don't think it's going to cost the race win for Toxic. He comes across the line and he wins in China for the Pinnacle tier. Rafa comes across the line in second. Larkin with an impressive podium position. He'll be pretty pleased with that. Samba with 4th position. Netsky will drop down massively due to penalties. Vienna manages to get those tyres to 8 laps. Fair play to him. I will just check to see what his tyres were at the end. 80% on the front left, and he did not get a puncture. So fair play to Vienna for brilliant tyre saving there at the end. Now, I don't know if I would have done it, to be honest. Khalifa 6th, Netsky 7th, Lakitu in 8th, Jules a good recovery drive in 9th, Konzo 10th, Glot 11th, and Noah gets the final point. But we still got a battle to follow for the fastest lap point. Is anyone going to get quicker? No, maybe not for Josh, but it's a battle between Cliffy and Kyle to get the fastest lap. Cliffy with 1:31.1. What about Kyle? I don't think he's looking any faster. We'll see how his sector 2 is. It's like we're talking about... Oh, no, but he's not. He's got front wing damage. That is interesting. He's got full front wing damage.
Maybe he's just pushed it a little too hard there in trying to get a point. But you know, you're outside the regular points anyway, so you may as well give it a go. But it hasn't worked for him. So Cliffy, despite being pushed hard, has got that magic fastest lap point outside of the top 10. But that race was quite incredible, really, and we have a new championship leader.
Yep, Samba being your championship leader, of course, after Lakitu not scoring many points. Netsky being down the order due to penalties as well. I have a feeling Larkin may jump Netsky as well due to Larkin's podium. So Netsky, I think, will drop down to potential 4th or maybe 4th or 5th, because Khalifa, I think, will jump Netsky potentially too. I don't know. I can't do maths, but, you know, start of the show, it's got to be Toxic, I have to say, but so many candidates for driver of the day. It's going to be tough to choose. We'll go through our decisions in a second. 3 different constructors as well in the podium, which is great to see. 1 McLaren, 1 Ferrari, and 1 Mercedes. So let's get your final results. Toxic wins from Rafa, from Larkin there, your podium sitters. Samba just missing out in 4th. Vienna with a good tyre management session on his soft in 5th position. Khalifa in 6th, Netsky in 7th, Lakitu in 8th, Jules in 9th, Konzo 10th, Glock in 11th. Noah being your final point finisher. And then we got Chris, Fatality, Cliffy getting the fastest lap point outside the top 10 and overall as well, which is great to see. Josh and Carl being your last finisher. And your only retirement this week is Tom R. So good to see. Most other people have kept it clean. So it's now time to decide out of all 18 drivers who's going to be the driver of the day. So I'll let you go first. Who's your driver of the day and what would you like to ask him?
Well, it sounds as a pretty standard line at this point, but there's quite a lot of candidates. But I think I'm going to go with Samba this week. I'd like to ask him, you just kept it clean between the lines and you just kept going forward to do what you needed to do, and you are now the new championship leader. Was that always going to be the case for you? Did you know that Lakitu was struggling behind you?
Very good decision there. Nice question as well, but I'm going to go for the boring choice. I'm going to go for the race winner. I'm going to go with Toxic, only because he started in P2, got a launching start into turn 1, he took the lead, and he never looked back, really. And my question is, how does it feel to get back onto the top step of the podium after some maybe possibly difficult starts, potentially? So well done to Toxic there, and you can vote for those in a poll, which will be going out either later on tonight or tomorrow on our OneHubRacing Twitter page at OneHubRacing. And you can check out all our sponsors as well, which is OneHubRacing, who are doing a giveaway for a GT Light cockpit, I should say. And we also got Vespertine as well, which are providing prizes, helping support our prizes. EMRBS with our trophies. Time to print 3D with the little key rings each week with the track as well. So if people like China, maybe they can get some as well. ERT, Elite Racing Team, providing prize to go and get tough awards to the ones who do pretty much all their race interviews pre and post, as well as turn up every week as well. I'm trying to remember if I've forgotten anyone. Let me just have a look. Next Level Racing, 3M Sim Racing, sponsor the league by providing a pair of the sim racing gloves to drive with the most poles and drive with the most fastest laps. Well, that was a bit of fun today. Next week, hopefully, we'll have a permanent replacement to replace Dakar, but it's been a lot of fun covering for the time being. Thank you, Matt, for joining the commentary box once again, and hopefully whoever joins you next week will have an entertaining race to commentate on as well.
I'm sure they will do. I've never seen a dull race since I've been in this tier, so that's put the kiss of death on it, hasn't it? But I'm sure they will enjoy it all the same.
Yes, next week we head to Belgium for round number 4, a driver favourite track and a commentator and spectator favourite as well. I think I'm very much looking forward to watching that for the Pinnacle tier. But for myself and Matt, we will leave you to it and enjoy the rest of your evening. That's the final tier for tonight. You can watch the streams back on YouTube just a little bit later on. We will see you soon. Have a good day. I will have a good rest of your evening wherever you are. And we will see you all next week for some more OneHubRacing action. Goodbye.